Actually, what I'm doing now is a distillation of what I had started when I made my first thesis in architecture.
Ako, Ana, is how far can one's imagination go? It can only go as far as when that person who is thinking of these ideas literally lives in one. And I've never seen anybody else unlike Ed Viacrusis, because when you visit his home in Ladislao, it's a literal forest. He barely murag kanang gamay kayo ang iyang footprint on earth, which misulod sa iyahang mga principles sa architecture. So halos milutaw na ang iyahang balay, which is such an idea, no, na thinking for him the future of architecture is for us to become forest people na halos wala na tayo footprint. And nahimo na niya in this lifetime. That's why I insist as a head of Mindanao Art to share his theories, his ideas, his principles, so others can be inspired with his life's work. Hangtod karon ginahimo gihapon ang iyang balay, but with this final thesis na sulti niya na kung mahimo niya, this is one house that can be studied for generations to come.
Viacrusis, a native of Davao City. My work now at this time is about what you could describe as your architectural thesis in its full maturity. My bachelor's thesis was on conservation, but historical architecture. But now I have gone further at this, after a long time. My take on architecture now is more holistic and more environmental. Ever since when I practiced my architecture, I always made everything personalized. That's why I sometimes become a difficult architect for some clients, because I personalize the project. I kind of try to go inside the client. Now at this point in time, I have decided I will be my own client. That's why I'm now free to do what I want, because I know this is the right thing to do, or the right approach to take. So these are the projects for end-of-life architecture. Legacy.
Legacy.
Muragana ba? You don't build for the market or for profit. You build for your advocacy, for your philosophy. So that's why I explained this was built to celebrate the trees, or to recapture what I experienced in 10 years of mountain climbing. So that's why I'm recreating a forest that I saw, but now in a different condition. You care for the earth and fratelli tutti. Similarly, that is the kind of movement that is being propagated now by some sectors to restore the earth and restore humanity with it. And we have the tools, like my basic tool that I find very relevant is permaculture. We are marketing products as green, but basically if you scratch through the surface,
surface of that design.
you will see that it's still the same negosyante trying to make money out of a beautiful concept. So, but there is a movement now towards this direction where they are less dependent now on the banking systems or the stock market to create projects, diba? The community-based economics is being implemented by some people. Anyway, the extreme part of that, which I have aligned myself into, is the pure form, where you don't cut the trees anymore. You plant more trees. You plant more trees. In other words, you reinvent the city. You don't build again the same mistakes out of skyscrapers and all those things that just fall down. It's now a kind of building with the forest. You rebuild the forest. And especially now that we are now on the brink of getting to Mars, this is the kind of thing that should be preserved on Earth, so we can bring it out there.
In relation to this today's pandemic, what's your
it's very relevant, because now it shows that the culture of the 20th century was towards destructive culture. It was so easy to subvert with just a single virus. Diba? You can destroy civilizations with just one virus. Well, here, if you're in this kind of setting where you don't pack up into crowds and you have natural space, you're almost free of that fear of the pandemic. Especially if you're living in Mindanao, in Davao City, where the climate is such, it's so rare. That's also the reason I make it like this, because this is where you can make the true experiment on green. All you have to do is just recreate what we experienced in Mount Apo. Before a client cuts down a tree because he's going to build a house there, you try to stop him and try to show him how you can have your house with that tree and how much better it is. And if you fail there, you always have the option to do your own thing. That's why I'm going towards the direction where we can have housing within the city that also rebuilds the forest in the city. Like I just talked to some student architects, and we were talking about the site. And every time they look at the site, they have stereotype evaluations, like this one is waterlogged, so they cannot build. I told them, look at it as waterlogged and try to build in a waterlogged space. What will you do? Don't consider them obstructions. Because the usual thinking before was to erase that obstruction, fill it up, and use your blank paper to make a new design.
Guilty tayo dyan,
So you are not challenged. Our century is the architects now should be challenged.
By those.
You create on what is there, and then we'll see how creative you are.
All right.
To make your solution very individual or very particular or specific, you have to draw out from your own cultural experiences or your history. As I said, you should never copy paste a solution or repeat. Even yourself, you don't repeat because every place has its own particular
Identity.
spirit. I will be
Ano yung
remembered for the
message
trees that I say. If the forest is still here, centuries from now.
Ed is a friend and a mentor and a philosophical buddy. Crucis himself is a visual artist, but us, no, like myself, a visual artist, I've learned so much from Ed because when he creates his architecture, he starts with a philosophy, not the other way around. So, ganun din tayo as visual artists. Imagine if we embrace a certain philosophy and put it into our art instead of putting art first and then just coming up with a narrative that would fit into that work of art. So mas maganda yung proseso ni Architect Ed. And that's why maganda ma-share yung kanyang life and works to other visual artists.